Welcome to the Movie Expletives. I'm Jeff.
And I am Ron.
And I am probably sounding even crappier than normal because I am phoning in from Moonbase 1.
Yeah, Jeff decided to puss out because my wife has been sick like the last 2-3 days. So I just imagine you like over at your apartment in a hazmat suit.
I am a germaphobe, so that's probably not out of the realm of possibility, to be fair. So I would probably say that's a fair assessment. But yeah, after last week's episode, I was getting a little concerned about us not having jack shit to talk about, but quite a bit actually happened this week. It's pretty cool. We actually have shit to talk about this time.
Yeah, I know. We actually had to act some stuff because we're trying to make our promise, and we're probably still not going to fucking make it this time because there's just so much happening now.
Yeah, we got movie news, TV news, even a little bit of gaming news. That's always a surprise for us.
Yeah, a little bit is not an understatement at all, by the way, on gaming news.
Yeah, right. All right, well, first up was something I am personally incredibly excited for because it was the book it's based off of is a big favorite of mine, but they released the first trailer for Ridley Scott's The Martian.
And I gotta say, it looks pretty good. I mean, I read the first chapter of that book because it was a free download on the Nook. But the first chapter even is intense, and I don't know, I gotta say, watching this trailer, I mean, I'm sure, like, it seems like they showed a lot of what would be in, like, what I imagine, like, the first 3 chapters in the trailer. So they're not really showing you a lot of the movie yet, but they're showing you enough to get you hooked.
Yeah, what I thought was interesting about it was Ridley Scott made it a lot more intense feeling than the book is, because the book is, long stretches of him just trying to figure out how to live off the crops and shit,
Oh, yeah.
And with the trailer, I mean, obviously that's a trailer, they have to make it look more intense, but it seemed like he was adding a lot more to the scenes of when he's actually, separated from his team, because the book starts off where he's already kind of separated,
Yeah,
and obviously they're going to go into more detail in the movie with that.
Yeah, I can understand them wanting to do that though, because if you think about it, it would just be like Castaway 2 if they didn't add stuff to it.
Yeah, that's true.
Just no Wilson. Wilson didn't make the sequel.
This is Spalding this time. But yeah, you definitely need to finish the book, though. The book was fantastic. I really, really enjoyed it. And the cast is pretty ridiculous for that movie.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at right now. We got Kate Mara, Kristen Wiig, Matt Damon, Sean Bean, Daniels. Which I already know Sean Bean's not going to make it. No, that's not a spoiler because I haven't read the book. It's just because it's Sean Bean. Donald Glover, Jeff Daniels, Michael Pena. However the fuck you say his name,
Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Whatever you just fucking said.
The only reason I know how to pronounce his name is because he had been in talks to be Black Panther for like ever before.
Oh, dude, that would have been so good.
Yeah, but yeah, it's fucking hard to pronounce. I will give you that.
Let's see. I'm going to click him before I say this because I am pretty sure that I'm right, but not 100%. But I'm pretty. See, I knew he was the villain in Serenity, but I think he's also because he was.
Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Yeah, that's one. Now you're just showing off. Yeah, he's a great actor, and I've seen him in a few things. Yeah, I'm thinking of someone else. I'm glad I didn't say it. I was thinking he was also the villain in one of the God, what's that fucking movie with the fuck it. Anyways,
if only we had this magical device that all of the movies ever that existed on.
I know, right? If such a thing existed, I would totally call it something like the Internet Movie Database or something like that.
Be a good
Dude,
call.
Okay, well, what's the guy's name that you're showing off with?
Chiwetel Ejiofor?
Yeah. I'm on his page on IMDb, and at the very top, Doctor Strange, rumored.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that, yeah. Like, maybe he's going to end up being, like, one of the other Wakandians or something? That's what I had also heard, that at one point they couldn't get him for Black Panther, but they were trying to get him as another Wakandian. Now he's being rumored for something else for Doctor Strange. Like, they're trying to get him in there somewhere, but they haven't pinpointed where they want him.
Yeah, like the only 3 people listed is Chaya Wetahudi and Tilda Swinton and Benedict Cumberbatch, and the Chia Wetahata is just rumored. I'm just gonna start fucking saying his name every random way I can. But yeah, no, I'm really enjoying the Martian trailer. I'm really looking forward to that movie, even though it's fucking Matt Damon.
And your unnatural hatred of that poor dude.
I don't know. He's just so Matt Damon, you know?
And I'm also happy that movie's coming out later this year, because other than Star Wars, I can't tell you shit that comes out after Ant-Man.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. There's Ant-Man next,
year.
And after that, it just kind of blurs, like, all into, like, the background noise.
Very, very slow year. Well, we're both excited for that one, and other movies we are excited about, that is Aquaman. And Aquaman officially has a director now, and that is James Wan, who I believe is coming off of Fast 7. Is that right?
Yes, I believe so.
And I'm familiar with him. He's had a really strange career path, because he started out in horror. He did, I believe he directed, or at least produced, the first Saw. And I know for sure he did in the Insidious films, at least the first couple of them. So it's kind of an odd career path to go from horror, to a straight up action movie to now, superhero film. So
yeah,
I'll see how he does.
Looks like he directed Saw. A couple movies I never heard of. Then The Conjuring, Insidious Chapter 2, Furious 7, Conjuring 2, and then Aquaman.
Oh, have you ever seen Death Sentence with Kevin Bacon?
No, I've never seen it.
That's a great movie. That's basically Kevin Bacon as Frank Castle.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Kevin Bacon's son is killed by this gangster during his initiation. So Kevin Bacon decides to murder the entire gang, and it's amazing.
Wow, yeah, dude. So let's just think about this for a second. For Aquaman, we've got Khal Drogo from Game of Thrones, and then we have a guy that is known for directing horror movies, and then the Fast and Furious 7. Was it Furious 7?
Yeah.
Which, no pun intended, I would say is a fairly high octane action movie. So we've got a director, that's coming off of a major production action movie and horror movie, and fucking Khal Drogo as Aquaman. That movie is going to be nuts.
I can't wait.
That movie is going to be so awesome.
They had me sold as soon as they announced Khal Drogo. I'm there.
Like, I feel like with the announcement of James Wan, it's just going to be... it's going to be a dark and gritty Aquaman, and he's just going to be walking around fucking murdering people with his hook arm.
What's also going to be cool is, since he has a horror background, and he was what makes me kind of sad about him leaving horror, because he actually announced, I think The Conjuring or one of the Insidious films was going to be his last horror movie, is he was one of the last directors to actually use mood and tension for horror instead of just gore, like everyone else does. So what's cool though about it is, in the Insidious movies, especially in The Conjuring, he creates mood and creepy set design and stuff. So that could lead to some pretty cool underwater sequences, and we're seeing a horror director doing possibly Black Manta. That could be interesting.
Okay. Yeah, no, definitely looking forward to anything that comes from this guy, because while a lot of the stuff that was in that list on IMDb I have not seen, I have always heard good things about, Conjuring and Insidious, Death Sentence. I've seen Saw, but I don't know. That's a whole other podcast, I think.
Neither of us has seen it, but we both, have heard nothing but good things about Furious 7. Everyone seems to really, really like that one too.
Yeah, we really need to get around to seeing that sometime. I just fucking day job.
we are so unqualified to talk about movies and games and TV shows, and we don't watch half the shit we talk about.
Especially games, dude. I don't think I haven't played any of the games from 2014. I don't think yet, because it was such a busy year with life and things.
Yeah, life sucks. Needs more time for games. Damn it.
Right?
Well, he was also attached to the Robotech movie, James Wan. So, are you familiar with Robotech at all?
I am familiar with the idea of it. Like, I've seen the trailers for the movies, and I know what it is. I've never actually sat down and watched it. And, which is unusual, because considering what it is, you'd think I'd be up all over that shit. I mean...
Considering it's anime, I would think you'd be all over it, because, I mean, the 2 or 3 listeners we have don't know, but you have every anime box set, like, known to man in your house.
Yeah, it's not just the fact that it's anime either, but it's giant fucking robots and stuff. I mean,
that's kind of anime.
I mean, exactly. I mean, and now that we live in a post Pacific Rim world, and considering this is going to be a live action Robotech movie, I mean, and it's James Wan again, like we've been talking up now for a few minutes. It's going to be interesting. I mean, I'm really looking forward to any giant fucking robot movies that are coming out.
So are they mechs?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm not familiar with it even a little bit.
Yeah, they're more or less mechs, I believe. I'm just trying to see what the point is. I mean, from what I'm reading on IMDb about what the actual plot is, it sounds a lot... Have you ever seen Knights of Sidonia on Netflix?
No, you recommended it a few times. I have it saved to my Netflix purgatory queue, but I haven't gotten
around
to it.
Like half the cast of Bleach is voicing in it. I can't think of his name right now. The Black Power Ranger that voices Ichigo. He voices the main character also, and he uses his Ichigo voice, so the entire time it's just like, what? But, yeah, it sounds a lot like Knights of Sidonia may have borrowed a lot from Robotech. So I am definitely going to be trying to get my hands on Robotech before the movie. Let me look up. I looked up the anime. I didn't look up the movie. Let me see if... I don't think it has a release date. Maybe it'll at least have a year. Like 2018 or something.
It's probably pretty far out if they just announce the director. Usually the director is the first person to be attached. Yeah,
so let's see. Robotech, that's got to be the shortest IMDb page I've ever seen. Nope, nothing listed. Not even a director listed, so it's so new they're not even up with it yet.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, like I said, just think post Pacific Rim, and from what I read, like alien invasion versus robot mechs, and I mean it's had some games, and within the past couple of years, I think, and it still had a lot. I mean, I hear people talk about Robotech still, and I think it said 1985 when I was looking at it, and that's the year I was fucking born. So
that's ancient.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, that's like back with like the original Gundam. I mean, it was all giant robot mech stuff back then, and then Transformers, and there's a big boom of that stuff. So, yeah, I'm pretty interested in Aquaman and Robotech. They're shaping up to be pretty good stuff just from what we've heard so far.
I'm interested in any giant robot movie that doesn't have Michael Bay attached to it.
Yes.
And we don't have nearly enough mech movies. Like, Pacific Rim was freaking awesome, man. I feel like...
Okay.
We have every year a movie where we destroy the crap out of like skyscrapers and shit, like the Rock movie, what's it called, San Andreas. Why don't we have a yearly mech movie where they fight aliens? That's so much more interesting than just seeing natural.
Because I don't think you would want to see a movie that came out yearly like that. It would. They need so much time to do the graphics and everything correctly.
Yeah,
because
amazing.
Guillermo del Toro, or I'm pretty sure I say his name differently every time I say it.
Correctly every time.
Yeah, but he, G-Dubs del Toro, he specifically said on some interviews where I think he was talking to Chris Hardwick that he despises green screens, blue screens, all that shit. And like Pacific Rim, they actually animated frame by frame.
Really?
Yeah. Oh. And that's one of the reasons why the movie looks so fucking incredible. is
that's why the second one is taking a while to get made.
Exactly. Like, he wanted to take his time with it, and he said people weren't happy with him, and he basically said, fuck off, I'm G-Dubs Del Toro, and, got it made frame by frame. And
that's incredible.
Yeah. No, it was mind-blowing as soon as he said that. Like, Chris Hardwick, it took a minute for him to process what he said. I don't know. A whole other podcast going about Pacific Rim and Del Toro.
Yeah, we need to do a commentary for Pacific Rim, I think.
Yes, we do. We would have to split it into two, I think, but yes.
Where we just go gaga, like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
I think it would just be like 2 hours of just silence because we got enraptured into the movie,
Yeah, because it turns your brain into like your brain is a 5-year-old where you just enjoy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that whenever I put in Pacific Rim, my pupils just dilate and I just sit back and start drooling.
Yeah.
And yeah, that better be goddamn Robotech because
that sounds like the greatest commentary I've ever heard. Us drooling and not saying.
Yeah, this is a post Pacific Rim world, James Wan. If you're gonna tackle Robotech, you're tackling Pacific Rim. What is it you say? What is it you say? Pacific Rim is the best Godzilla movie ever made.
It's my favorite Godzilla movie ever made. That's for sure. Well, because I don't give a shit. Okay, it's like the new Godzilla movie. I don't give a shit about the giant lizard when I've seen the movie with giant aliens fighting giant mech suits. Like, it's just not interesting. You know what I mean? It's just not interesting. Yeah, here's my question, though, related back to him doing Aquaman.
Yeah.
Is, how excited are you about Aquaman when I know you're really down on the Justice League stuff as a whole?
Justice League stuff as a whole, definitely down on, but like a standalone Aquaman movie, I'm totally fine with, and I'm looking forward to, because let me tell you why. I generally don't give a shit about Aquaman, so if they fuck it up, well, it's Aquaman. What'd you expect? If it's fucking awesome, be like, yeah, it's Aquaman. What'd you expect? Of course it was awesome.
I thought them casting Khal Drogo was pure genius.
As soon as they did that, I was like, New 52. Boom.
Yeah, when they actually made Aquaman useful and cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, I look forward to giant fucking sharks eating people and...
Oh my god. You have to be giant fucking sharks and Khal Drogo. I'm there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's going to be fantastic.
I'm really looking forward to that one. I actually think... I think there's an 85% chance the Justice League movie sucks, but I think some of the solo movies are going to be good.
You give it so much more faith than I give it. I'm at like 95%.
99.8.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. So. Well. All right. Let's move on to our next movie. Speaking of
99.8%, here's something that could be almost 100% awesome. Obi-Wan Kenobi film trilogy has been rumored. Bringing back Ewan McGregor.
You just couldn't help yourself.
I just could not help myself. Yeah, that was one of the latest rumors that came out, I believe, this morning. We record on Tuesday, so this is the 9th. My sister-in-law's birthday, actually. Happy birthday, Vanessa. But... yeah, so how do you feel about that, Jeff? Because I am fucking stoked for that if that turns out to be true.
I am on record as not liking the prequels hardly at all. The third one's okay. But I loved Ewan McGregor in all three of them. I thought he was easily the best part and the best casting choice they had for anybody. And
see, and I expected you to say that. The thing where I was wondering where they would get you is the word trilogy.
I'm a little curious what the story is going to be, because the rumor is that this is going to be taking place between episodes 3 and 4, and as far as I know, he's just kind of dicking around in the desert waiting for Luke to grow up. So it's going to, what's the story?
3 movies of him walking around kicking rocks.
I mean, if it's like 3 movies of Ewan McGregor like whooping sand people ass, I mean, I'm down for that. But I mean, hell, I just want more Ewan McGregor. Like, that guy doesn't do enough movies.
But, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, that's a time period they can do pretty much anything they want with, right? So, I mean, we could have fucking stormtroopers almost at their door, and Obi-Wan Kenobi just fucking steps out from behind a rock and murders them all. And, you know, I mean, we can have all kinds of awesome shit, or it could just be 3 movies of him walking around kicking a rock. Who knows? I am totally down for 3 movies of Obi-Wan Kenobi starring Ewan McGregor walking around kicking a rock in the desert. I would totally watch that just because it's Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's my favorite Star Wars character.
He's definitely in my top, probably 2 or 3. And I bet there is some truth to this rumor, but the part that gets me is I don't think they would do a trilogy. I think it would just be a one-off. Because I get the impression they're wanting to do one movie of a whole lot of different properties, not just, you know, like singling out trilogies and shit with their spinoffs.
But you see, what I was kind of thinking, because, I mean, like I said, this is, again, rumored. Disney has said nothing. Ewan McGregor has said nothing. We don't even know where the fuck this rumor came from. But, I mean, when I hear Obi-Wan Kenobi film trilogy starring Ewan McGregor, my mind instantly goes to, like, starring as leading role or starring as in actually about. You know what I mean? Like, is it 3 movies happening that he's the main character and is in basically every scene, or is it 3 movies that are actually about the character himself?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean,
But I definitely think there's some truth to it, just because it's fucking Disney and they are known best for milking every fucking franchise they have. So I think that there's some truth to it in the fact that they now have the rights to Star Wars, and they're just going to start cranking out Star Wars movies until we're sick of them.
Oh yeah, they've already announced that we're getting a Star Wars movie every year. You know, that's happening for sure.
Yeah.
And, you know, the first one is the Rogue One, you know, the attack on the Death Star, or, you know, the attempt to steal the Death Star plans, I should say, you know, plot line. And then they're doing what was originally going to be Boba Fett, but now it's being talked about as being Han Solo and Boba Fett, so we don't really know what's going on with that just yet either.
Yeah, I find that pretty interesting, too.
Yeah, and then now with Obi-Wan, you know, they're... what they're going to do is they're going to have one out in between when they do their actual episodes. So, I mean, hell, and like you were talking about, it's Disney. They're going to be getting those dollar returns as much as they humanly can. So, I think it probably comes down to if Ewan McGregor wants to come back, which I don't know why he wouldn't. I'm pretty sure I've never heard of him having a bad time, you know, during the filming of the originals, you know.
Well, wasn't one of the things he was proud of most is that wasn't the original Obi-Wan like his uncle or something?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Well, that's what I'd always heard. I've never actually like looked it up, but he was like somehow related to the original. So when he took over the role, he was like, "Fuck yeah," you know.
I do know that he went out of his fucking way studying that role, though, because you know he even patterned the way he, Alec Guinness always, you know, would stroke his beard while he was, you know, thinking about something. Like he even tried to pattern his habits and everything off of him. He was really, really dedicated to that role. So if he was willing to show that much dedication, then I don't know why and we talked about earlier, like it's not like his schedule's, you know, hard to fit in because he doesn't pick very many movies to do. So
right, yeah, he does.
It boils down to if he wants to come back.
Yeah, he does like a lot of like theater stuff, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he does a lot of theater stuff, and typically when he does pop up in a movie, it's more indie. Probably Star Wars has been the only, you know, blockbuster type movie he's done. I can't think of any others he's done that were, you know, nearly as high up there.
Let me see.
But I'm excited. I hope it's true because hell, more Ewan McGregor is always a good thing.
Oh yeah. No, I'm not going to argue with that at all. This next bit, I don't know how you feel about it, Jeff. I've got a couple of things to say, some good, some bad, but it looks like the Assassin's Creed movie gained some traction, finally, after all this time and all the time we've heard about it.
It's about damn time. They've been trying to get that movie made for 5 years.
And it's kind of interesting how they did it, because literally one day Twitter just imploded and the internet broke because a poster surfaced, and it's been confirmed that this is the first official poster, and it's the Assassin's Creed logo, and it says Assassin's Creed the movie, which God, that better be a working title.
I actually don't think it is, because they've used so many names for their 30 games. They might have to just call it Assassin's Creed the movie.
Oh, Jesus. At least just call it Assassin's Creed, my God. But yeah, you have the eagle that, you see everything has to do with in Assassin's Creed. That's like their emblem nowadays. And the distinct Animus lines all over the fucking poster. Release date December 21st, 2016. Now, the two things I like about it is Michael Fassbender and Marion. What you're the expert here? Cotillard, whatever. I don't know. I'm from Oklahoma. Damn it, I'm doing my best. But
What was the actress? It was Talia, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's good, and I've always said that if you're going to make, like, back when a lot of people were bitching and moaning that we still don't have a Zelda movie, I'm always like, how the hell would you ever do that, right? It'd have to be an original story, and no one's ever going to do a fucking original story. An Assassin's Creed universe is basically it's at Zelda level now. With how long those games are and everything that happens.
It's convoluted as shit.
It's just, but the big rumor is that it's going to feature an original story. So that really has me excited, because you're still going to have the main overall plot. Michael Fassbender is Desmond Miles. He's taken in. They're looking at his past lives, and it's going to be Altair is supposed to be the assassin, but it's going to be set somewhere else, and different events happen. That way, they can make it they can make it work for the movie.
So, did they confirm that Fassbender was going to be Desmond?
Yes. I don't know that. That's what the article that I'm looking at says, but I don't know. Let me.
Yeah, because if it's a fully original story, that he could be anybody.
I'm pretty sure. Let me see.
Although I would imagine, since they're obviously a big portion of what their box office revenue is going to be as fans of the game, you would probably want to have. Altair people probably wouldn't really care that much, but they'd like to have Ezio, I'm sure, at some point, because he was the fan.
Okay, so I guess the original rumor was that he's Desmond Miles, but apparently they've actually been tight-lipped even on that. But I can't imagine he wouldn't be Desmond Miles. As far as the assassin, the big rumor is
the assassin.
Do what?
I can tell you who should be the assassin, and that's Jaqen from Game of Thrones. That's who should be the assassin.
I can't imagine that they wouldn't have Michael Fassbender also as the assassin. Because otherwise, I don't think he'd have a lot of screen time. What would be even the point? The big rumor for the setting is the Spanish Inquisition.
I can't hear that without just thinking Monty Python.
Yeah, no, there's no words in this article that I'm seeing about Altair. I might have just made that up, or I've read so many damn articles I couldn't tell you where I got that from.
Do they have a director associated with it at all, or is it just the poster and release date we've gotten so far?
Director is Justin Kurzel. The biggest thing that I see in his credits is probably Macbeth.
Okay.
Yeah, right. That was pretty much my reaction. Snowtown Murders, The Turning, Macbeth, Assassin's Creed, and he had a short back in 2005 called Blue Tongue. That's what I was going to say I feel like I was working against it, because all of the writers and the director were either working on Macbeth or they have worked on movies such as Accepted and Exodus, Gods and Kings. So I can see getting someone that worked on Exodus.
Totally, yeah.
But, I mean, when your writing credits just consist of Exodus and Accepted and the Transporter Refueled, I mean, I don't know, I get kind of worried.
sometimes it can work in your favor, and sometimes the people genuinely aren't that talented. But sometimes it does show that maybe those people, since it's such a random choice, were picked for a specific reason. Like what happened with Captain America: The Winter Soldier. The Russo brothers had only done comedic TV shows, but they were ginormous Captain America fans, so they were picked specifically for that reason. So, maybe these people were picked, kind of hand-picked for it, but, we won't really know until we get some trailers out or, some more information.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I'm totally there either way because I'm big into the Assassin's Creed franchise. So, they already hooked me to the fact they're going to make a movie. No matter how good or how bad it is, my ass is in the seat. But especially with Michael Fassbender attached.
That's the only real reason I'm going to be there because I'm not a big Assassin's Creed guy. That's probably the biggest game franchise that I've never really been able to get into that much. So, but my biggest draw is Michael Fassbender. I love him.
What really got me up to toss a coin, 50-50 that it's going to be awesome or flop at this point because we don't know anything about it, is the original story. That's where they hooked me. Besides the franchise name and Michael Fassbender. So yeah, we'll see. Well, December 21st, we will see how many times that date gets pushed back.
Oh yeah,
because it's going to happen. They don't even have a fucking script yet. Doesn't sound like, and they already have a release date. So
that's always a good sign,
right? Speaking of good signs, you recently watched Big Trouble in Little China, yes?
I did.
Guess what? You get to watch it again.
Hooray! Kind of.
It turns out that The Rock is going to be replacing Kurt Russell in Big Trouble in Little China remake, which I'm fine with. I mean, I saw the Kurt Russell movie a long ass time ago. I mean, at this point, it's a whole new movie to me as it is. I will be watching again very soon, especially with this piece of news coming out. But here's why I wanted to report on this. One, The Rock has been very fucking busy lately. He's got a show coming up on HBO that's like the Entourage replacement or the R-list replacement, whatever you want to call it. Ballers. That's premiering this month.
And he's in every movie franchise of the last 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, the guy is cranking out 2 or 3 movies a year now, it seems like. This year alone, he had, Furious 7 and San Andreas.
And
which I can't
else. Say
that without thinking of Grand Theft Auto. I'm sorry.
Yeah, me neither.
I have too many hours of my life in that game. But he's going to be replacing Kurt Russell, and I was just like, okay, Hollywood's out of ideas. Now we're remaking every fucking movie we can. If you're going to remake a Kurt Russell movie, can I just say, it better goddamn be Escape from New York and Escape from L.A. Those are 2 fucking fantastic movies that I would like to see revived with like a sequel. Don't even fucking remake them. If you have to, get fucking Tom Hardy or someone. At this point, just put Tom Hardy in every action remake or sequel.
I was about to say, did you have any Tom Hardy? It's like, I'll fucking watch that. Actually, those make more sense for remakes to me than Big Trouble in Little China, because Big Trouble in Little China, I mean, a lot of the famous movies of the 80s are, very rooted in the 80s, and only work in the 80s, conceptually. Mm-hmm. Big Trouble in Little China is so 80s, where I don't even understand why they're remaking it, but it's like you said, they're out of fucking ideas, so it's every little property they have, they're gonna remake. God forbid they, hire someone to make something original.
Well, one of the biggest reasons I wanted to report on this is because, one, I think it could still be fun to see, especially when you have movies that are, there's so many slash comedies lately. There's horror slash comedy, action slash comedy. There's so many movies that the line between genres are blurred now. So you could do action, horror, comedy with this, whatever you wanted to do. It's going to be fairly lighthearted, I feel like, with The Rock in it. He doesn't do anything too intense or too dark. Probably Walking Tall is one of the darkest things he's done, as far as I can remember. He does seem to be trying to branch out. But what gives me some hope for this, that this is probably going to be good, is obviously he's taking it seriously, because he is wanting them to get John Carpenter back in as and negotiate a producer capacity where he has like storyline input, and he is wanting to get Kurt Russell brought in for the planning of the movie, and I'm assuming as a consultant for his own role, since Kurt Russell once played the role. To me, that's a very good sign for any movie. You're trying to, if you're going to remake something, to bring some of the original people in to tell you how to fucking do it right.
This is probably going to be a rare occurrence on our podcast, because I typically am on the opinion of I'm sick of The Rock being in everything, but I actually really like his choice for Jack Burton. That character was goofy enough, and I think The Rock's actually a good choice to kind of portray, what Kurt Russell was originally. But I will check this one out, but it is getting a little depressing how far they're stretching, especially recently the 80s. Like, they're mining the crap out of the 80s, for every little property they can.
Well, they get to do it again now because, it's been 30 years since these movies, so they're like, hey, you youngins have never heard of these things. Let's just put them back out there.
Yeah, like you said earlier, I recently watched, and I thought it was, a pretty good movie. I think it might be kind of a hard sell for today, because typically when I hear people speak fondly of Big Trouble in Little China, it's with nostalgia from seeing it back then. So
right.
Without any nostalgia and trying to sell it to a new audience, it's like all The Rock. So they didn't really have a choice but to cast somebody like The Rock to make it work, from a box office perspective.
Yeah, so I know it's definitely going to be interesting to see where they go with it. I need to watch the original again before I can really say one thing or the other. I remember it being good.
Yeah, it's good. It's a little dated, and not. I wouldn't say it's up there with some of the best John Carpenter movies, but it's definitely worth the watch if people are curious about it. I think they were incredibly smart to cast The Rock, because there aren't many people who even know who John Carpenter is anymore, sadly.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a news story that we were both kind of, on, but we're going to move on to our TV section.
Yeah, speaking of smart casting, holy fuck, Jeff.
Oh, this news story broke my brain with how awesome it was.
Holy shit. I still am trying to process this. And had this come out tomorrow, I'd been fucking pissed because we're recording tonight.
Yeah, I would have been sad. I would have been real
sad. We would have had to do a whole nother episode just devoted to this, like another 20-minute, 30-minute episode devoted to just this, had that happened. Because this was so earth-shattering. This is up there with Tom Hardy being Mad Max and Robert Downey Jr. being Tony Stark level casting.
And the news article we're dancing around is the announcement that Jon Bernthal, most famously recognized as Shane from The Walking Dead, is going to be Frank Castle.
Frank fucking
known as
Castle.
The Punisher in Daredevil on Netflix. And holy fuck. When I first heard this was one of those casting choices where I kind of facepalmed myself, and I was like, that is so genius and perfect. How did I never even consider this? But
never considered this. I never could think of who I would want to be Punisher, and then Tom Hardy was like, I'll be Punisher, and I was like, okay, let's do it. But then this broke, and I was just like, oh my god, I'm pretty sure I just sat there and stared at my phone when I read the article on my phone today, because I didn't know what to say.
It was a casting choice that was so perfect.
It's obvious.
And just how much he portrays the character that only Marvel can do it.
And here's what really fucking excites me. Not only is it R-rated MCU on Netflix, not only is it the Daredevil choreographers and the Daredevil showrunners and writers, But there is a chance, Jeff. There is a chance that this could get spun off into its own Netflix series.
Yeah, and I'm assuming it's going to be a huge success because everyone loved the shit out of Daredevil.
I mean, Daredevil, that kind of broke all the podcasts that you and I listened to. Like, everything, when Daredevil first came out, I don't know, for the first 2 or 3 weeks, when people were finally sitting down and starting to watch it, like, that was all every podcast opened up with. Kind of like Mad Max. Every podcast you listen to, I'm assuming the 3 listeners we have listens to more than one podcast than just ours, and they know what I'm talking about. Every podcast, I don't care what it was, I listened to the Still Untitled, the Adam Savage podcast from Mythbusters. They had an entire episode devoted to Mad Max. Like, I mean, and they had another episode totally devoted to the Daredevil fight scene in episode 2, the one-take fight scene. So, I mean, it's going to be hugely successful. He's going to fucking blow this out of the park. I think I just took 2 metaphors and mushed them together. You don't blow anything out of a park. But
it's okay, we're excited. They understand.
I know. I'm sitting here. I have the news article up on my screen, and it's totally fucking distracting me from what I'm saying just because of the headline. And that it's on IGN. It's this badass picture of Jon Bernthal looking slightly to his right, and there's a giant fucking Punisher skull behind him. And I'm just like, fucking yes.
And we've gotten... You know, with his roles, specifically, his most famous roles are Shane in The Walking Dead and his character in Fury.
Dude, Fury, he demonstrates crazy. He demonstrates crazy and not...
for the role, because how good is he at playing, someone who's unhinged? And that's Frank Castle, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, okay, in Fury, he's a fucking crazy dude. Like, just, crazy, right? And then... you have him in Walking Dead that he's basically, it's almost like Shane is considering being Frank Castle, but isn't really too into it yet, because that's kind of what Shane's personality is slightly Frank Castle to me, especially when he starts coming unglued in season 2.
Yeah, he especially in Walking Dead, when they got to have some more screen time devoted to him and kind of fleshing out, his transformation, which we should probably do, a little bit of spoilers for Walking Dead. We don't know exactly what we'll be saying about Walking Dead, but his character transformations, without going into too many specifics, that dude can play unhinged so well that impressed the hell out of me. And I cannot wait to see him shoot people with RPGs and shit in rated R Marvel Punisher. I just, and like you said, that was one of the first things I said, is this character choice and actor pairing isn't up there, as far as media reaction, as like Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark, but just as far as how much it is perfect for the character, it is up there with that quality, because I think he's going to be incredible in that role, and I really do hope they spin him off, because, originally, when they were planning the Defender TV shows, they planned Jessica Jones, and they planned Luke Cage and Iron Fist. They didn't have they didn't have Punisher yet. I think there's a very, very good chance, if they had those rights already, he would have already been one of the characters going. So now that they were able to get him after the fact, I think they probably do want to make a show out of him, because there's no reason it wouldn't be a success.
I think what's going to happen is it's going to be like an audience reaction test, because we already know Jon Bernthal is going to knock it out of the park. And I mean, there's already been like pictures posted of him like holding up Punisher comics and just pointing to them and stuff. So
I'm so excited.
Oh yeah. So, he's going to knock it out of the park, which is what you do when you're knocking something out of the park. You don't blow it out of a park. And it's basically going to be an audience reaction test. I don't know. What's the thing you do in marketing? I don't know. It's too. I'm still staring at this picture of him with the Punisher skull in the background. So, yeah, I don't know, dude. Kevin Feige is going to be monitoring the internet, and he's going to be monitoring the statistics that Netflix don't give him. They're just going to be like, yeah, people loved Punisher, and he's going to be like, all right, well, Netflix, you're getting your own Punisher show then, and he will break the internet again.
So, do you think he's going to be the villain in season 2?
I think he's going to be anti-hero. I think there's going to be someone coming to town that is so terrible that Daredevil has to save Hell's Kitchen, and it's going to draw the Punisher in. And it's going to be kind of like Daredevil is trying to take down the guy, and Frank Castle is just shooting his way up to the guy and leaving a trail of bodies everywhere. And I think we're going to have several episodes where the two of them clash, as well as the two of them clashing with whoever the villain is.
We talked earlier off air about this, but I already freaking adore Daredevil, and like they even managed to make me more excited for that show, which is fucking incredible because, you know, I have done nothing but, you know, go gaga for that show since it aired, and for them to be able to escalate my excitement even more, bravo Kevin Feige and all those Netflix higher-ups and everyone, because they have just done an incredible job with Daredevil. I'm so impressed and I'm so happy that Fox didn't pull or was it Fox that originally had Daredevil? Whichever studio originally had them when they did the Ben Affleck movie. I'm so glad they didn't pull a Fantastic Four and bullshit their way into keeping the rights. Because, man, I cannot wait for... I believe season 2 is it 2016 when they've announced the slated?
Yes, I believe so. I want to say April, but I could be confusing that with all the other fucking news articles I've looked at today. For the podcast.
Whenever it does come out, can't come soon enough, because just thinking about Jon Bernthal with that skull on his chest, oh my god, cannot wait.
And you know what? Another thing that has me excited. The other big rumors were Daredevil and Bullseye, right?
Yeah.
And people have been talking about Bullseye a lot, and we'll get to that in a minute, just because it's fucking Bullseye. But this occurred to me earlier today. Imagine Elektra with the fucking choreography we have seen in this show. Mm-hmm. I mean, the fight choreography has been just absolute unimaginable, and I can't imagine. I can't even fathom Daredevil going up against Elektra with the fucking fight choreography we've had in season 1.
Oh, right, and Elektra's even more trained than he is, so right. Go even more balls to the wall.
So, yeah, because no one is really talking about Elektra, and we'll also get to that, why that is here in a minute, because there's been news surrounding Bullseye. But, the rumor is that's the next casting choice we're going to hear, is Elektra.
Yeah, they've had some rumors coming out that they've been screen testing people, but, Marvel's actually good, DC, about covering up their shit going on. So... we haven't gotten much more confirmation other than, rumors. I feel like
since we already heard a casting choice for Punisher, my prediction is within probably the next couple weeks to next month, we're going to hear Elektra announcement, I think.
You know what was also cool about the Jon Bernthal announcement?
What's that?
Is he had no fucking clue it was happening.
Right.
So it was just, just a nuclear bomb that they just dropped on Twitter. And if that shit was going on in DC... we would have already seen him in a Punisher t-shirt 5 months ago.
Yeah, I know. Well, there would have already been footage of his screen test leaked, a month ago.
Yeah, that's just...
I would love to see that footage, by the way. I would love to see if, he was the first person that walked in the door and they said, fuck it, send everybody else home, or if they actually had to take some time and think about it, I would love to see that footage.
And they've also been kind of going out of their way to tweak the villains in the show, especially with Wilson Fisk. So if he is, in the anti-hero or villain capacity, we don't really know what the story is yet. I'm curious if they're going to tweak Frank Castle at all, because they made Wilson Fisk more interesting than he's ever been.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah, because usually he's just the money and or the brains behind whatever is happening. Wilson Fisk had depth to him, and he was a dynamic character, and that's not something we ever get from Wilson Fisk. So it's going to be real interesting to see how they do Punisher. And dude, just I don't think we'll get an origin more than just like a flashback, or maybe later in the season him talking to Daredevil.
Yeah.
More than like a 10 or 15 second, like 20 people getting mowed down by the mafia or something. But whatever we get is going to be fucking intense.
And the Punisher's origin is even easier to do than Batman.
Like hard home Game of Thrones intense for like 20 seconds.
Yeah. And I was saying, Punisher's origin is even easier to do than Batman, so they can casually, knock it out of the way really quickly without having to, waste time. They can get the same effect in a short amount of time.
And if he's like in an anti-hero capacity, I mean, I imagine I don't want to say he'd be the star because, the name of the show is Daredevil. So I can't imagine that he would have like half the screen time or anything. But I mean, if he's just like in an anti-hero or villain capacity, you don't even really have to flesh him out much. You just have him show up and fuck shit up and leave.
He's a murder machine. That's what his character is.
So yeah, I mean, you've got 2 of your 3 Dream Team members, Jeff.
I'm so excited. You don't even know.
So
just thinking about him in fucking body armor with that skull. Oh.
Dude, I cannot wait to see him. There's going to be pictures surfacing soon of him and the long coat, right? The black long coat. That's just going to be, But the story that we've been dancing around also with Bullseye that I kind of alluded to a couple times. The reason I think we haven't heard anything much about Elektra or probably any of the Punisher casting is because there was a rumor that no one seems to know where it came from. But it got shot down pretty fucking hard by both sides. That Jason Statham was being, I guess, eyed for Bullseye in Daredevil Season 2. And Marvel basically said, nope, not true. And Jason Statham said, nope, not true. And then went on to bash the fuck out of Marvel on record. About the way they do their fight scenes and the use of extras and stuntmen and green screens. And you had a pretty interesting point earlier today about that, Jeff. What was it you said?
That Jason Statham can go fuck himself. Because last time I checked, they don't ever do extras or green screen in the Fast and Furious movies. That's all legitimate martial arts fighting, None of those car explosions have CGI. That really irritated me. Also, why would you take a piss on Marvel when they have so many projects going, whether it be TV or movies? They easily could have fit Jason Statham anywhere, so he just cost himself a role. I don't understand.
Not only that,
what he's thinking.
Not only that, Jeff, he cost himself a potential place in the rated R MCU. On Netflix.
And that is exactly the opposite of what he was complaining about.
Yeah, and you also brought up the point earlier that everything he was complaining about is the exact opposite of what Daredevil's trying to accomplish. Daredevil is trying to be as realistic as possible and is trying to not use CGI in their fight choreography and try to not use as many extras and everything. And that's what he shit on the most. In his little rant.
I don't think Jason Statham has access to the internet, or if he did, he would have seen the hallway fight scene, which is, one of the most, beloved fight scenes now of all time.
Now, what I wasn't aware of is that evidently at some point there was a rumor that no one shot down, that they were looking at him for the part of Matt Murdock.
Really? I'd never heard of this.
That was in, if it's not the article that I sent you earlier on this, then it's in another one that I read today when I was researching this, because I thought we were going to talk about it. Originally, as far as I knew, the rumor was that he could potentially be Bullseye. So I looked it up to confirm that, and what I got was a whole bunch of articles of it all being shot down. But one of them was talking about how they wanted him to be Matt Murdock, and Marvel never commented, and Jason Statham never commented. So it could stem from something that went sour in negotiations. or something. But I can't see.
I'm glad it didn't happen because that would have been a pretty terrible choice.
I can't see that rumor would be true at all either, though, because the one thing that they've done amazing with in everything they've done is casting, and that does not even fit. Like, I mean, it's not like, when I first heard Christian Bale was going to be Batman, I almost laughed.
Really?
Because I was just like, really? I mean, come on. And then I did it again with Heath Ledger and as Joker, and I was surprised both times. But
what about Christian Bale made you dislike the choice?
I don't know, I just didn't look at him and see Batman. It didn't help that he was like 120 pounds. But at the time before he like beefed up for it. But
because of the machinists.
Yeah, like I don't know. Here's the thing. We're talking Batman Begins when we talk about that. So, there hadn't been a Batman movie that actually starred Batman and not Bruce Wayne. So, they had always tried to cast someone that was charismatic, for the role, which he's like the exact opposite of, which is why he works as Batman. So, but I imagine them getting Christian Bale and Batman only having like 5 minutes of screen time, and you have this non-charismatic, dry Bruce Wayne the entire time. And I just imagined it being really awkward.
Well, you also hadn't seen American Psycho, which was like his breakout role, so...
Yeah.
That was pretty important, because American Psycho is the movie that shows you, like, his range and how good he could have been. Because I was actually, all for it. I mean, God, that was... 11 years ago now, so it's hard to say what I was thinking, but I never had a negative reaction to him.
But yeah, I mean, I wasn't exactly negative. It was just kind of like, really? Like, I had a hard time seeing it. And where I was going with that story was, I had the exact opposite reaction to every Marvel announcement there has been, right? Like, Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. I was like, I totally fucking see that. Edward Norton
amazing.
Yeah, Edward Norton and Mark Ruffalo both as Hulk. I fucking see it. Both of them. It's like Chris Evans, Captain America. I fucking see it. So, I hear Jason Statham Daredevil. I don't fucking see it. Like, that doesn't happen to me with Marvel, so I don't know. Bradley Cooper is a fucking talking raccoon. I see it. But Statham as Daredevil, no. Statham as Bullseye, yes. And then that's why I was surprised to hear Statham basically saying, go fuck yourself, Marvel.
Very, very weird.
It's very weird.
I don't know why you would go out of your way to take a piss on the most popular movie franchise going on the planet right now. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? Although I would have liked to have seen him as Bullseye, but if there was ever any truth to him being Daredevil, that's a terrible choice, because I don't see that even a little bit.
I can't imagine that's true at all, because that doesn't sound right.
If we're talking not Marvel but Fox back in the day, when they still had the rights. I could see
that, like a movie.
Yeah, for a movie. Yeah, not like when they got the rights for the show or anything, but I could see that maybe as a movie, because they don't know their characters over there. They just care about the dollar figures, Right. And Jason Statham always draws a crowd, and he's an excellent fighter. Like, I like to watch him fight. Like, Transporter movies are fucking awesome fight scenes. Yeah.
But also, speaking of Marvel, as we've been going on about Daredevil for like half the podcast now, and then we could I know we could easily go all night about it. But speaking of more Marvel stuff, this is an interesting fact. I just wanted to briefly mention this, because this is an interesting fact I was not aware of. But did you know that AKA Jessica Jones has been fucking changing its name like 4 or 5 times now?
I've heard a little bit. I'm sure they would have really liked to name it what the comic was called, which was Alias, but they've obviously already had a TV show called that, so that was out of the picture.
But evidently it keeps switching back and forth between AKA Jessica Jones and Jessica Jones. And I guess this is like the 4th time now that it has switched or something like that. But the reason people are thinking this is going to be the actual title of the show is the fact that there is, if you go to like Netflix and search for it, that's the title card you get. There's like a black background that's kind of foggy, and then like this grayish silver font that just says Jessica Jones across it, and the AKA is missing.
They're probably wasting their time spending so much time thinking about it, because in their advertisement, Daredevil is going to be listed more than Jessica Jones.
Right.
Because that's their hook, is we're going to see from the makers of Daredevil also starring Doctor Who. That's what you're going to see all over the shit. You know, you're not going to see
purple Doctor Who.
Yeah. Because no one knows who the hell Jessica Jones is.
Well, no, she's just AKA Jessica Jones.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I really don't understand why they're spending so much time worrying about the name, because it's a name that's unrecognizable in the first place.
Yeah.
It's very odd, but, you know, I'm going to watch it opening day because it has Doctor Who in it.
Oh, yeah, and it's Marvel MCU, and, you know, it's what's-her-fuck from Breaking Bad, so...
Kristen Ritter, yeah.
Yeah.
She's going to be awesome, and we're getting rated R villain David Tennant, which is going to be awesome.
Oh, dude, I cannot wait for that. Speaking of awesome, do you want to know something that's the total opposite of awesome?
What's that, Ron?
The thing that I was on record for saying was my favorite fucking thing on television is now officially dead.
Yeah, why'd you jinx him, Ron? Asshole.
Because everything I love just dies and is torn away from me at every turn. And
you want to know what's kind of a sad statistic?
What's that?
Few shows you might have heard of: Constantine, Firefly, Almost Human. What those have in common? Didn't get a second season. You want to know what did get a second season? Gotham.
I thought you were going to say fucking Duck Dynasty.
I thought about it, but yeah. We'll keep it comic related.
Okay. Yeah, no. Constantine is officially dead in the water. There was a big press release.
So sad.
That's basically just said thank you and thank you and thank you. And if you have a contract with us, like Matt Ryan, then you are now free to leave. And there's the door. So yeah, I don't know anyone that has talked about why the show was canceled basically just says they couldn't get it to work out and they weren't privy to the discussions. Anyone who was privy is wise enough to not fucking talk about it. So
it makes me so sad. I love that show.
That show had so much potential. I mean, it felt like a season 1 show, don't get me wrong. But if you looked between the lines, if you looked at the quality of the acting, you looked at the quality of the writing, I mean, it got a slightly bigger budget and, built more viewers, which I guess was the problem. It was slow to build like Firefly was. Then the second season would have been fucking fantastic.
They had one of the most charismatic leads going, because Matt Ryan was born to play John Constantine.
Not only was he born to play it, he fucking loved that role, man. Like, he was Constantine. He was Constantine in everything he did, everywhere he went. So, yeah, that's...
If there's any silver lining to it, is at least it got to happen, and at least Matt Ryan got to be put on Front Street, where he's going to be looked at for more, leading roles, I think.
Yeah, I guess his schedule's open. So we should be seeing him a bit more now. I wonder if he turned down anything for Constantine, and then it fucking fell through.
I hope not, but I mean, hopefully they're smart enough to realize, how capable he is and how, God, he was so good. And we talked about it, a few months ago when the show was still going. But in episode 1, the show wasn't as good as it eventually became. But he hit the ground running, already being that character.
Yeah,
reading the script. He already knew, what his choices were going to be to bring that character to life. He was amazing.
There's so many elements to the show, and I guess I'm gonna go ahead and spoiler tag this. If you haven't seen it, I don't know what the fuck you've been doing. You need to. It's still worth a watch, just to see what we're talking about. But
sure,
Fate's helmet. You see in episode 1, the Spectre, there's the Spectre ending. It's like either the finale or the second to last episode or something. A lot of those stem from Matt Ryan, dude. Like, Matt Ryan and, the guy that was playing Corden both said hey, writers, we would write to do the Spectre ending to this episode. And they're like, what do you mean, Matt Ryan and guy that plays Corden? And, they told them what they wanted to do, and the writers said, fuck it, do it. And they scratched the ending that they originally had so they could do that. And my understanding also was the helmet, was it Dr. Fate's helmet or something like that?
Yes, Dr. Fate.
My understanding was Matt Ryan fucking put that in. I mean, he was all over this, dude.
Hey, if maybe we could get him in an animated Constantine movie role, that would be pretty cool.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Because they're actually working on that Justice League Dark with Del Toro.
Oh, yeah?
That stars Constantine. So, Del Toro, dude, go freaking get him. That would be incredible to see him return, for at least an animated role.
Dude, animate Matt Ryan into it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's, I don't know, the things that could have been.
Pour one out for old Constantine. You will be missed.
So I'm actually going to go ahead and on the fly axe this next story, just because we have 5 minutes left in our now 70-minute podcast. We're at 65 minutes, I believe now. So I'm just gonna go ahead and axe this next one on the fly, but basically just Boondocks TV series is in the works. They're trying to get Norman Reedus back and the other guy. I've never seen the movies. I've heard nothing but good things about the movies, and they're looking at the original director and the original actors, and it's going to be a prequel. So they're working on it. They're trying. Look it up. It's on IGN. All about it. We have one piece of video gaming news that we wanted to get to, is why I'm axing the Boondock Saints TV series. And that is we had an official press release for Fallout 4 pre-E3.
Yes. Which you have never played any of them, so you really couldn't care less, but I'm pretty excited.
The thing that just blows my mind is, I haven't played any of them, and I know that's a fucking huge release, that's a huge announcement, but pre-E3, E3 is next week. So I don't know if they're afraid that, there was some kind of corporate espionage, so they were trying to beat them to the punch.
What I believe happened was they wanted to have kind of a teaser trailer out ahead of time, because Bethesda actually has their own panel type thing going. So I think they wanted to have more attention to their panel ahead of time.
See, and it's everything on it is lost on me, but from what I understand about that teaser trailer, it's one fucking hell of a teaser trailer. Apparently you get some of the gameplay, you get some of the game mechanics. It wasn't just like the Tomb Raider one with her just climbing a mountain, or something like one of the other podcasts we listened to that was very disappointed about. Yeah, apparently this was a hell of a thing when this trailer released. I know there's been a lot of anticipation for Fallout 4 since New Vegas. I've always heard, I've never played any of them, but I always heard New Vegas is the one to skip. And that's kind of what everybody was left off on, isn't it? Was not the last one everybody played?
What's crazy about it is Fallout 3 actually came out in 2008, which is now 7 years old, which is, a little mind-blowing, because I still remember playing it pretty religiously. And then you got New Vegas in 2010, so it's been 5 years since you've had a Fallout game at all. Because they've been, it's Bethesda who also does Elder Scrolls, so they've been all up Skyrim's ass, and Elder Scrolls Online, they've been pushing Elder Scrolls pretty heavily, but I've always been of the opinion, I much prefer the Fallout games, because I know you don't really have very much experience with Skyrim and the Elder Scrolls games either, but the gameplay mechanics in Fallout to me are much better than Skyrim's, because with Skyrim, and you might know a little bit what I'm talking about because you've seen some YouTube video, I think, a little bit of it, but when you're in combat, in melee combat in Skyrim, it doesn't feel like you're connecting with anything. It doesn't feel like you're hitting anything. It's very, very loose, and it's not very satisfying gameplay mechanics to me. And Fallout has always had one that's really, really cool when they introduced it in 3, which is the VAT system.
Mm-hmm.
And it basically turns it into half first-person shooter and half, like, RTS almost. Because what happens is you activate the VAT system, and then it lets you target a body part.
Oh.
So, like, you'll freeze your game, and you can, 66% chance to hit his legs to cripple your target, or 30% chance to get a kill shot if you aim for his head. So there's actually some tactics in it.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is much more in depth than some of the Skyrim mechanics. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm not as big into it, as I am, Arkham or anything like that. But it's a video game series that I am really into. I'm really excited for. It's been way too long, and I'm excited to see more of it at E3.
Yeah, I imagine there's going to be a lot of things surrounding Fallout 4 at E3. There's going to be a lot at E3, period, because news has just been winding down the closer we get to E3. So it's, yeah, E3. I feel like it's going to be a hell of a thing this year, probably. One thing that we wanted to remind everyone, speaking of E3, is that it's next Tuesday, man.
I know. I can't wait.
That's the thing. It's the 16th through the 18th this week. We usually try to record on Tuesday or Wednesday for our Thursday release. So we'll probably, I don't know, we might end up waiting until Wednesday just so we can have some fucking news to talk about, not have to do commentaries all the time.
Although they were pretty entertaining to do.
Yeah, there's gonna be more commentaries in the future. That was fucking fun. But yeah, no, I'll probably, if I see good things about Fallout 4, that might be my introduction. I know there's a lot of people pretty excited about it. I just need to get on games, man.
Me too. I'm so behind.
I mean, I have games from 13 and shrink wrap because life happened.
I've been trying to get you to finish Last of Us for a year and a half, and you break my heart every time.
I've got 5 hours left, 6 hours maybe at most.
If that, and you don't understand. You don't understand how much it breaks my heart that I haven't been able to get you to finish that.
But maybe I'll get it done before the movie.
No, you need to get it done before Arkham Knight comes out because you're sure as shit not playing it once Batman's out.
I just want to take a moment to let our listeners know how big of fans you and I are of the Arkham universe. We have day jobs, and we are not reporting into those day jobs when Arkham Knight comes out. We have taken vacation on those days.
It's pretty sad when you throw it out there, but no shame.
No shame. Hashtag no shame.
Hashtag no shame.
So, yeah, no, it's... Oh, dude, I cannot wait for Arkham.
We are 2 weeks out. 2 weeks out.
And my sexy Arkham Special Edition PlayStation.
Which I will be stealing.
No, you won't. That shit is going to be bolted down. Yeah, no,
I'll just find a way.
Yeah.
I'm going to Ocean's 11 your fucking PS4, dude. All right, well, that's going to bring a wrap up to our... What fucking episode are we on? Is it 12?
Episode 12. So high, we're not even counting no more.
Episode 12 has come to an end, so if you'd like to check us out more, you can follow us on Twitter at TWBE Podcast, or check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/TWBE Podcast. This is Jeff.
This is Ron.
And we will catch you next time.